This video right here is about Bigu, one of the so-called leaders of the Rolling 60 Crips. The FBI, did a RICO on the whole Rolling 60's hood. We all know that used to be Nipsey Hussle hood too. I'm going to read off of Los Angeles Times. LA Crip leader turned gang interventionist ran mafia-like enterprise, feds allege. Eugene Bigu Henley is a well-known figure in hip-hop world and has been called rap's godfather by Wiz Khalifa. Federal authorities are now accusing Henley of murdering a young rapper in Las Vegas, among a variety of other crimes. Eugene Bigu Henley, a Crips leader who helped launch Nipsey Hussle's career and was dubbed rap's godfather, has been accused of murder, kidnapping, robbery, extortion, and fraud, federal authorities announced on Wednesday. As part of Henley's purported grip on Los Angeles, his alleged victims were required to check in with Henley before arriving to the city in order to obtain protection. According to the 100-page federal complaint unveiled Wednesday, among those Henley allegedly extorted were professional athletes, musicians, the complaint said, whose business interests were not always legitimate. Federal authorities likened Henley Bigu enterprise to a mafia-like organization that relied on his stature and long-standing association with the Rolling 60's and other street gangs to intimidate businesses and individuals. In LA, authorities at Wednesday press conference said Henley is a fugitive. More than a dozen others are in custody tied to the sprawling criminal case. Following a year-long FBI investigation, federal authorities have accused Henley of kidnapping and fatally shooting a young rapper in the face and leaving his body in Las Vegas desert over their perceived disrespect and directing the robbery of an unlicensed LA marijuana dispensary that has stopped making extortion payments. Henley also allegedly defrauded companies, donors, athletes, and celebrities, including professional basketball player Draymond Green and former NBA MVP Shaquille O'Neal, persuading them to donate to his charities and later allegedly transferring the money to his own personal bank accounts. Authorities have also accused Henley of fraudulently obtaining funding from gang reduction and youth development programs overseen by the LA Mayor's office. Henley previously served 13 years in prison after trying to rob an undercover sheriff deputy of 33 pounds of cocaine in 1991. His son is a linebacker for the Los Angeles Chargers. Henley, is alleged right-hand man Sylvester Robinson, and trusted Lieutenant Mark Martin are accused of violating the Racketeering, Influential, and Corruption Organization Act, which is the RICO. Federal authorities have also charged Termaine Williams, a.k.a. Lucecannon, with robbery, Armani Aflage, a.k.a. Manny, with transporting an individual to engage in prostitution, and Frederick Blatton Jr. and Tiffany Hines with bank fraud. All of them are in custody, according to the U.S. Attorney Office in L.A. In the affidavit filed with the criminal complaint, Andrew Ruza, a special agent with FBI, said members of the Association of Bigu Enterprise used Henley and the group's history as reputation to control Los Angeles through violence, fear, and intimidation. Henley simultaneously attempted to create an air of legitimacy for Bigu Enterprise by promoting himself as a reformed gang member focused on bettering the community, Ruza wrote. Las Vegas killing. 5 days before his killing in January 2021, Rayshawn Williams recorded a diss song. In his affidavit, Rusa said he believed Williams' diss song was about Henley, whose independent record label Unique Music was representing the 21-year-old rapper. It's unclear whether Henley had heard the diss lyrics prior to the killing, according to the complaint. In the diss song, Williams referred to Henley as the bro that makes some money. Rusa wrote Williams rap that he himself might get shot in the face for thinking the shit funny. He mentioned a .38 revolver with no trace. Las Vegas police found Williams' body in a ditch near the landfill on January 25th. He'd been shot in the face with a revolver that left no shell casings. Williams is identified only by his initials in the complaint, but the Times was able to confirm his name through Las Vegas news reports and social media posts. Unique Music paid to fly Williams from California to Las Vegas in January 2021 and put him up in the Airbnb, according to the complaint. His family said Henley had coached a young rapper in football since he was young. Williams was supposed to spend a week at a recording studio and record a song a day, but he missed some days. When Williams didn't show up at the studio on January 23rd, investigators said Henley and Robinson drove from LA to Las Vegas to confront him. A friend of Williams, identified only as CA, recounted that Henley arrived at the Airbnb about 2 a.m. on January 24th. Henley asked why Williams hadn't shown up to the studio in California. Told authorities Williams claimed he didn't have a ride. I believe that R.W. wasted the time, thereby disparaging Henley's name and bigu enterprise reputation and potentially flaunting that disrespect with the lyrics of the diss song led to this dispute, Luce wrote. Henley arrived at the studio about 7 p.m. Williams arrived a couple hours after and recorded until midnight. Witnesses told authorities about 12:30 a.m. Henley left the studio. The dark gray Lexus that he and Robinson had driven to the studio was no longer there. Shortly before 1 a.m., Ruza wrote, Henley's phone stopped reporting location data and didn't start again until about 2:15 a.m. Surveillance footage at the Airbnb where Williams was staying captured the dark gray silver sedan arriving about 1:13 a.m. According to the complaint, Williams got out of the passenger side of the car, went inside and returned a few minutes later with a suitcase, despite the fact that the Airbnb was rented for another day and he was not set to leave on a flight until the following day. About 3 a.m., a witness said Henley returned to the studio alone. The witness said Henley appeared to be drenched in either sweat or water. Henley told the witness he was coming back from the gym, according to the complaint. Hours later, on January 25th, about 9 a.m., Williams' body was found in a ditch. He had died from multiple gunshot wounds. Authorities compared DNA collected from the Williams' body to Henley's DNA profile. The result was inconclusive, but Henley could not be excluded as a suspect, according to the complaint. According to the complaint, following the homicide, Henley allegedly arranged for recording equipment from the studio to be removed and surveillance video to be destroyed. Ruza wrote that he believed the footage would have shown an altercation between Henley and Williams the night of the killing, and at a minimum, Henley and R.W. leaving the studio together shortly before R.W.'s murder. A month after Williams' death, the FBI LA Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Gangs launched an investigation into bigu Enterprise and its association with the Rolling 60's. Original Gangster. Henley is an admitted member of Original Gangster, or OG, of the Rolling 60's and someone who widely regarded as a leader within the gang, Ruza wrote in the affidavit. In hip-hop uncovered a 6-part documentary series which Henley was an exclusive executive producer, he described himself as a Rolling 60 members from the first generation. The series billed itself as examining power brokers who operate from the shadows of hip-hop. Henley said he robbed cars as a juvenile and moved to Chicago after getting kicked out of California. When he returned to LA in the 80s, he said he earned his reputation by beating people up in the parking lot of the World of Wheels Mid-City Skating Rink. Throughout the 80s, Ruza wrote on his affidavit, Henley fostered the fierce and earned his reputation for violence. Henley said he made money selling drugs and decided to stop after reading the autobiography of Malcolm X. I was ready to do something different, Henley said in the docuseries. He later started managing the career of hip-hop artist Corrupt. Then in 1991, Henley was arrested in a sting operation after he and a friend tried to rob someone they mistakenly thought was a drug dealer. He served 13 years in prison and was released in 2004. Soon after, Henley formed Development Options, a nonprofit involved in gang intervention that also provided underprivileged children with safe outlets in sports. Corrupt took Henley to Death Row Records to meet Suge Knight. In the docuseries, Henley said Knight helped him financially and put me in a position to win. He met Nipsey Hussle, an up-and-coming rapper and a member of the Rolling 60's who lived with Henley family and recorded some of the first tracks in their downstairs studio, according to a 2023 Times article. In the docuseries, rapper Wiz Khalifa said he didn't know anybody that's actually touched as many superstars as Henley has. If I was to describe Big U role in hip-hop, he would definitely be a godfather, Khalifa said. Can't do nothing without consulting him. He's the one guy who does know how to move. Check-ins. In 2022, Rosa wrote in an FBI interview, a corroborating witness identified only as CW1, who claims the rap artists, athletes, and other visitors needed to pay Henley a fee when they came to the city. CW1 told authorities about a large buy and dice game in LA in June of 2019. The game involved a professional boxer identified only as AB association and several prominent NBA players, according to CW1. AB, which is probably Adrian Bronner, and his associates fixed the game, cheating the NBA players out of millions of dollars using teased dice. After the game, Russo wrote Henry directed associates to rough up AB, who had not checked in with Henley, and to get the money back from him on behalf of the cheated NBA players. Multiple members of the Rolling 60 allegedly arrived and were used to press AB. Henley stepped in, CW1 told authorities, because he was involved in or would approve of any dice games or similar events, such as parties involve large sums of money and prominent NBA players and celebrities in the city. According to the complaint, CW1 knew of the times in which NBA players or celebrities would need to get approval in advance for Henley to ensure their safety at events such as parties, games, advertisement shoots. CW1 said the celebrities would have to pay Henley for protection and approval, or face retaliation from Big U Enterprise. In a monitored meeting between Henley and someone identified as Victim 1, Henley recounted that he got into it with AB after AB cheated a current NBA All-Star out of $1.5 million and a former NBA All-Star out of $5 million. Henley also talked about charging the players $100,000 to get their money back. In a podcast Henley hosted called Check-In, he said, "Every city he goes to, I check in with somebody, but he has denied charges fees for those coming to LA. I never made no athlete or rapper give me nothing," Henley said in the interview. A digital media company, they reach out to me because they feel connection to me in my neighborhood for whatever reason. How you rob yourself. The complaint laid out various robberies allegedly carried by Big U Enterprise, including one at an unlicensed marijuana dispensary in LA in January 5th, 2021. In that case, the victim told authorities he'd been paying the enterprise up to $25,000 a month in extortion fees. After he stopped paying, he said nearly a dozen of Big U Enterprise members and associates, along with Rolling 60 members, rushed into the dispensary with firearms. They were not wearing masks and obscured their identities. They allegedly stole cash and marijuana from the store before fleeing. The same day, Henley allegedly invited the victims to his home, where he laid out and had been stolen from the dispensary. That's how you rob yourself, Henley alleged said. Russo wrote that throughout the investigation, the FBI obtained recordings of Big U Enterprise members and associates discussing robberies that they were doing and plan to do. In one case, Russo said he heard Henley on a wiretap planning a robbery of people who had stolen equipment from the celebrity rapper, using the Apple AirTag that was purposely put there in equipment. Henley, Mitchell, and others got guns and began to stage the robbery. They called it off, and after spotting, police arrived at the location, Russo wrote. According to the complaint, Henley organized a birthday party at Deja Vu for himself in 2021. He allegedly received around roughly 33% of the bar proceeds and promised that the famous rappers, including Wiz Khalifa and T.I., would attend. The night of the birthday party, Henley, Robinson, Martin, and other associates turned up at the club. A victim told authorities he watched as Robinson, Martin, and 3 other associates took a different victim into the back room and extorted him for $30,000. None of the prominent celebrities rappers arrived, according to the complaint. Alleged fraud. Authorities also accused Henley of fraudulently obtaining funding from the LA mayor's office through the Gang Reduction Youth Development Program. Since around 2015, Russo wrote, Henley nonprofit development options have received $550,000 annually as part of the program. The nonprofit was allotted $2.3 million from the city in July 2018 and June 30th of 2023 from Russo wrote. Henley has drawn hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary. According to the complaint, the GRID program has an extensive mandatory handbook that is appended to each contract that the development options, like every other GRID contractor, must comply with. Among the many requirements are extensive criminal background checks, compliance training, approval of employees, attendance of meetings, login activity, and cooperating with local law enforcement. Based on my review of the documents in the course of the investigation, development options appears to have failed to comply with some or potentially all of those requirements, Russo wrote. Henley also allegedly fraudulently applied for federal pandemic relief loans from development options, unique music, and other businesses. Finally, authorities accused Henley of committing wire fraud from embezzling more than $100,000 in donations to development options. Although none of the donors were identified in the complaint, the Times was able to confirm their names through federal sources' public interviews. Among them was Draymond Green, who made $20,000 donation to development option in August of 2019. Hanley allegedly embezzled the entire donation, transferred the funds to his personal checking account. Another was Shaquille O'Neal, who wrote a $20,000 check intended to support development options and Crenshaw Rams youth sports team. Hanley allegedly transferred most of the money to his bank account. Hanley faces up to 20 years for a RICO charge, but could get life if the jury finds that he agreed to commit the murder specifically. So yeah, that's the latest on that. You know, I could probably guarantee that the FBI got the majority of that information off YouTube, because we all know how bigu, Lucecannon, and what's the other dude name? You know, dude that be on No Jumper, man. All of them been basically dry snitching on each other. I throw Whack 100 in there. You know, they've been doing this for months, I've been seeing. And, you know, it's just a matter of time. You know, FBI, police, and all of them monitoring YouTube, social media. So while they up there trying to gain views, telling they old stories about how they robbed Shaquille O'Neal and robbed this person and robbed that person, FBI been keeping notes on all that. So now they got a RICO, man. So briccbaby, bigu, lucecannon all got took down, you know, in most of the rolling 60's Crips. Another RICO hit California. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this comments. Please hit that like, share, subscribe. This made Media Magazine. Shout out to Trenches News. Make sure y'all get that How I Survived Chicago Drill, the book, directly from Swiper on IG or Nene Marie 37. You get an autographed copy. Or get on Amazon.com and get that book, Trenches News, How I Survived Chicago Drill. Shout out to the Mod Squad. I'm out.
If you want to support me, make sure you go ahead, Nene Marie 37 in her inbox if you want a signed copy of my book, man.